Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Between the Benches, mid-round one, playoffs. We're kind of heated at the moment. I'm just going to let you start off, Jake.
I mean,
I know you want to talk about something.
there's always one episode every year, if you're not familiar,
That's true.
where we get a little angry at things that are taking place. And this year, it's officiating. It's been bad. Wholly bad.
We always have a bone to pick in some kind of way with the NHL.
I mean, last year, it was literally game one.
Last year, you and I had issues with the helmet thing. Remember that?
I had issues with it this last night.
Yeah, that's true, too.
It happened like 3 times last night in the 2 games that I was watching. I can't believe how just terrible the officiating has already been. Teams getting 7-8 power plays, outrageous goals getting taken back. I'm in a bad mood today.
Yeah, we've had countless goals taken back in ways that they shouldn't have. I'll just bring up one. Minnesota, as of Saturday night, got scored against and answered right back within, 15, 20 seconds. And that's keeping yourselves in the game, and that's an energy builder. That's everything you need in a playoff game. And then just the stupidest review, I think, personally.
He never was in the crease. Not once.
Goalie comes up to him. It's just not. It was so unnecessary of a goalie interference review.
The only reason why that review happened is because Fleury started barking, which they all do. You ignore them.
But completely, I personally think changed the course of the game. I mean, it's demoralizing because
it's 2 games in a row.
Yep, 2 games in a row. Same player.
Take the first goal of the game back.
Yeah. So I just, at that point, it sucked. It sucked. And officiating all the way around has sucked. I've heard nothing but that on online, from friends, from everyone.
There has not been one game where I'm like, okay, that's all right. I liked how this is. Actually, no, incorrect. The first Jets Oilers game, was all right. They let him play. If it was egregious, they called it, and they only really called like the clear stuff, like too many men or delay a game.
I feel like that first Tampa Bay Florida game. Maybe.
No, there were a couple. There was a lot of calls in that game too.
Yeah, a lot of calls. That's fair.
I don't care if you trip a guy. I don't care. There should only be 2 or 3 power plays a game for each team, at most.
And then
no one wants to see a special teams contest. You play the game, 5-on-5. That's how the playoffs are supposed to work.
So, me and Jake watched this before the episode, and because I caught a glimpse of it at one point over the week. Yesterday. Saturday night, after Tampa Bay Florida's game, John Cooper has his post-game press conference, right? It's only like 5 minutes long. And he got some questions about this kind of stuff. He got questions about, what do you think about message sending, or what do you think about keeping your emotions in check as far as your players and stuff?
Message sending in games that they're out of it.
Yeah, because so Saturday, Tampa Bay lays on pretty much a blowout for Florida, and that's a whole mess that we'll talk about in a second anyway. But Kucherov goes down on just a blatantly terrible slash by Anthony Duclair way behind the play, no puck involved. Kucherov's just down on the ice for a decent amount of time. I don't know what his status is currently. I think he'll be okay, but Sergachev takes a hit. That was a reasonably okay hit. You could debate about it, maybe being a boarding or whatever, but he's down for a while, just in places of the game where the game was over. And John Cooper, it was like, listen, first of all, he was against the refs. He was talking constantly. He was like, there's no call after no call after no call.
Well, good. I don't care. That's how it should be.
Yeah, but on things
as long
that
as he was
he was talking about embellishments. He was talking about I mean, John Cooper was going off about officiating in the NHL, and you could tell he didn't want to be fined by the NHL, but he said as much as he possibly could.
How many flops has Taylor Hall drawn this playoff so far?
Yeah, exactly.
And they called it every time.
Yeah.
You don't give them that. You don't give them that in the playoffs. You recognize it's a flop, and you just let it go, and it teaches them a lesson.
Mm-hmm. And then John Cooper goes off, saying message sending is a good thing. He wants it in the game. He loves it in the game, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if you haven't had the chance, or if you do have the chance, go listen to this. Go find it. 5/22 is the date. Press conference post game for John Cooper. It's worth watching. It's only 5 minutes long. It's worth it. I have so much respect for the guy. Great coach. Said everything that I wish I could have said. Everything that you and I agree on, Jake. So, yeah. I wish I could play that on here, but copyright. You know how that goes. So.
Not a big deal enough. Yeah. We are not a big deal enough.
No, we are not yet. But, yeah, the officiating's been atrocious. Game-changingly bad.
Yeah, that's the key word in it. They're changing the outcomes of the game based on what they're feeling that day. That's what annoys me. Is the refs should not have this much impact on who wins and loses games, yet they are. Mm-hmm. We don't go to watch the games. We don't turn the TV on to watch the stripes.
Yeah.
We watch the two teams. There are no three teams in each game. But that's what the last couple years have ended up being. Whatever the third team does is and whoever wins.
And listen, I hate... one thing that I absolutely hate doing is blaming games on refs. I refuse.
But there's been a couple this year, this year alone, that you can clearly say they won the game because of the referee.
Yes.
There's ones where you can say it's borderline that happens, where it's it's an argument. There are some that is clear. Mm-hmm. Like the Avalanche are getting power play after power play, parade of the box, and it's just keep going.
Minnesota's goals taken away. All the coincidentals we saw in the Boston Capitals series, I've heard nothing.
That was a little ridiculous, that one game.
I've heard nothing but stuff about that from other people now. Yeah. So.
It's ridiculous.
It has been ridiculous. It's disappointing, to be honest.
This is basically my issue with people like Wes McCauley. No one's there to watch you. Stop putting on a circus. You're not the star here. Mm-hmm. But they think of themselves as some, great part of the game, his little song and dance for fighting. Like, shut up. Announce the penalty and go about your business. With that said, do you actually want to talk about some of these games?
Yeah, let's talk about some of these games. So, since we last came to you, we've had two series start. The Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers series. Me and Jake both picked Winnipeg in this series, and so far it's been nothing but that. Winnipeg is up in the series 2-0. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are absolutely just...
Could you call them pointless?
Pointless? Yeah, that's bad. They're not pointless because Winnipeg is very much focusing on them, but it's working for Winnipeg.
But they are pointless.
Well, I see what you're saying. They're literally pointless. I like that. That's good. 0 points in the series for Leon and Connor, and we know how that goes. We know that
you don't win the game.
4 years of that went by, and they don't win games if they don't score points. So that's exactly what we're seeing. I mean, Jake, you've said Connor McDavid at times just you don't even know he's on the ice.
Which is a problem.
That's insane. In his career, we don't see that much.
Like the one goal that he scored was... I mean, it was 3 passes out, so if there was a third assist, he'd get it. But,
tertiary assist.
Yeah, it's shocking, because, I mean, that's the only goal they've scored this series. And, I mean, Connor McDavid was pseudo-involved. And yet, they don't even score a goal the second game, because those two are just taken out of the series. Because, also, I mean, they're double shifting them together. But you got to be able to roll lines, and they just don't do that. You can key in on guys when they're together.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, they're getting chances because I mean they're going to, but the defense and the goaltender are good. at least they're good at, like, they're physical and mean enough on the defense, and the goaltender's great, I should say.
I mean, there's really not much about that series other than the fact that, like, those are the X factors. Connor McDavid, Leandro Seidel. And if they're getting shut down...
it's the Connors. It's Connor McDavid and Connor Hellebuck.
Well, okay, yeah, that's true. We did say that. And one of them are showing up and the other one's not. And that's that. It's as simple as that in that series. I mean, you shut those two guys down and you can win
and
the
now
games.
They're adding Ehlers back in the lineup, which I didn't even think he was going to play at least 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He's coming back. He had a good season versus Edmonton. This could get ugly.
Mm-hmm. Winnipeg can start to run away. I mean,
this is a must-win for the Oilers, this next game.
Yeah, it is absolutely a must-win. So, yeah. Past that, Toronto and Montreal. First game, Montreal wins, what, 2-1, right?
1-0.
1-0.
2-0. 2-1.
2-1. Okay, I was right, yeah, 2-1.
Yeah.
Montreal wins, and Toronto was pretty much silent.
I mean, they came out in the second period after John Tavares' injury, looking for a goal. A lot of momentum, and then there was the Carey Price show.
Yeah.
After that. I mean, the 2-on-1 happens because they let interference go in the neutral zone. Fine. See, that's my point. You want the games played at 5-on-5, so you don't take away, you let the game play out as it is. It lets players like Carey Price have their huge moments.
Yep.
That 2-on-1 save was absurd. He caught it with the blocker, like diving across. But I mean, they played. I think the Canadians played the right way to win that game, like how they're going to need to win the series. They're obviously nursing Shea Weber back from injury still, because he's playing still in the third line, which when the defending, they're obviously attacking Kulak with Sherratt, because you would. I just, when they're together, Sherratt and Weber, they're just shut down.
Yeah.
I don't, you're not going to score. So the quicker that they can get them back together and, up to speed, the better for them. And I wouldn't, the one goal I think was scored, the Matthews goal was scored with the Sherratt Kulak line out there. But I don't see that happening much more once they put them back together.
Mm-hmm.
You saw how Sherratt roughed up Matthews, and he's just laughing about it, which cool, you could be funny. But what did you do on the power play? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so 2-1, and then the second game they win. Toronto wins, what, 5-1? 5-2? 5-something. So, I mean, that series is 1-1 at the moment. Both games went in either direction. Carey Price had a rough game, too, on that one. But other than that, I mean, it's a good series so far. And what I do want to say about the John Tavares injury, accidental stuff, whatever, you can't blame Corey Perry for that. Corey Perry was nothing but class about that entire thing, and I respect the guy for a guy that's been under a microscope when it comes to classless things and whatnot.
Because he comes from an era where, you do something, even if he shouldn't have had to step up for that later. Shouldn't have had to because it was an accident.
Yeah.
But the fact that when asked, he did.
And he didn't even, and he let himself kind of.
Which, of course, but,
Yeah.
I don't like Foligno continuing the tee off,
Yeah.
This is obviously a song and dance here. Like, he's doing it because he has to.
Yeah.
And yet you're still going to press the issue.
But, it is what it is. And it's over now. It's unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate. A little bit scary in real time, but
well, I'm not going to get into the trainers, but that was poorly handled.
Poorly handled, absolutely.
You don't let them sit back up. That's why they always tell you to tell them to stay down.
That was scary in its own way. All right. Well, past those two series, we have series that we've seen continue. Let's talk Panthers and Lightning. I mean, so you and I said about the Predators that once you start making these goalie decisions, stuff starts to go downhill.
Well, you went game 2 with Drieger.
Yes, they went. So they go Bobrovsky game 1, Drieger. Yeah, okay. Game 2. Game 3, they start
Drieger again.
Drieger, subbing Bobrovsky, actually wins them the game. That was a good choice at the moment. Won them the game.
That game was also one of the ones I'm mad at because there was like 80 power plays in that game. Both
That's
ways.
correct. That is correct.
Like half of the Lightning goals are power plays, and then the next, whatever got the Florida Panthers back in the game, a lot of those were power plays. Like, just play the game. It ruins the flow when you call too many.
Yeah. And Panthers win that in overtime 6-5. Then we go game 4. They go Bobrovsky, who lets up five goals and 14 shots.
15 shots, I think it was.
15, whatever it is. It's not
good.
Not good.
I can't say what I texted you in the group chat, but
I don't even remember. But I know a lot of those shots too were stuff that
you can't stop. Those are 2 nasty tips.
Yeah,
and a breakaway.
Gnarly tips. One's not even heading towards the net, ends up in the net. I mean, just the breakaway is the only one I think he had any chance of stopping. There were some other just great cycling the puck, and it is what it is. And they put Drieger in for that game, and it didn't help him that time. Tampa Bay still wins in a pretty large gap, and that's that. And that game 5, it's going to, I think. That's going to be a good game 5. Florida sent messages at the end, like we said earlier. Kucherov was down, and he's going to be hopefully playing.
Well,
I don't see him
how
not
the
playing.
heck did he get called on a goaltender interference when he got cross-checked into the net?
That was bad in its own way, yeah. That looked so ugly. Kucherov blows past defense. That's the defense's fault in the first place. And Mackenzie Weegar, cross-checks him basically as he's flying by him to cut across the crease to score. And Kucherov's chin to Drieger's helmet, and that was ugly. But Kucherov gets called goalie interference because the reffing blows at the moment. And, so nothing came out of it, I don't think, but it is what it is. I mean, it's just
too much to handle. It's like
they've
been a fun story all year, but now you're in deep water without your floaties against the ever-loving Lightning.
Yep. Who is just such a good team, dude. I mean, that's all it is. Tampa Bay is so good. Florida's best is not cutting it, and it is what it is.
Remember how I got upset trying to pick teams going into the playoffs because I'm like, I like Florida and how they've played most of the year, but without Ekblad, I'm not picking them.
Yeah.
They can't handle some of these teams without your top defenseman.
Yep.
Like, you have Weegar and Forsling as your top pair. It's not going to work.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's that. That series, it's 3-1 Tampa Bay, and I think it's pretty slim that Florida is able to handle the series for the rest of it.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go for it.
My yearly playoff performer pick, the guy that I picked last year,
huh?
yeah. Well, last year I was like, this guy's clutch. I already loved him as I thought he was their best player on the team, and developed the look of quite a clutch gene in Braden Point.
Yeah.
He's done nothing but do well in the playoffs. So I mean,
been phenomenal on faceoffs, by the way.
He's the best player on that team.
Yeah.
Best forward.
I think so.
I always have to say that because Hedman's there.
Yeah. But Braden Point's been fantastic. He really has. Let's move on to next series. Nashville against Carolina. And it started to look like just a lopsided series for Carolina, but as of game 3, Nashville sends it to overtime, double overtime, and Matt Duchene makes work and scores on... say his name, please.
Nedeljkovic,
thank you. Nedeljkovic.
Yeah.
It's not easy, okay?
Not a spelling podcast.
Jake's the resident, the resident pronouncer, autocorrect for me, when it comes to players' names. But, yeah, the Predators back at home, nothing but electricity in the arena. I mean, I looked full capacity. I think it is. And it gives some lifeblood to the Predators, and they actually come away with the win, I'm looking forward very much to Game 4, because I think Nashville might be able to tie the series up. If Nashville ties this series up, it's a good series. It's a good series. It goes in any direction at that point.
I mean, at the moment, no one's lost at home.
At the moment, yep. Nashville's got another home game in that electricity of an arena. So, I mean, that's really that for that series.
Just don't make dumb coaching decisions.
Yeah, John Hines, looking at you. Tolvanen was playing, by the way.
Wonder.
Yep.
You know, who'd have thought it?
Oh, and then this series. I don't
even want to talk about this one. I'll let you just take it and move on when you want.
Yeah, I'll just narrate what happens, basically. The Blues and the Avalanche. The Blues are just running away with this. The Blues, I wish. The Avalanche are just running away with this series. It is what it is. Power plays. The guys making it happen. Top guys, McKinnon, blah, blah, blah.
Somehow Kadri's allowed to play a game after getting suspended.
Yeah, Kadri makes his annual game two suspensive hit, and he's going to be suspended 8 games. Totally accurate. I don't think there's anyone arguing against that at this point. Online, I've seen literally no resistance whatsoever. Just a bunch of Tom Wilson comments. And
get over it.
And so Nazem Kadri suspended. They announced the suspension in the warm-ups of this Blues Avalanche game, the next game, and Kadri plays the entire game. I don't know. But if the Avalanche, if this trend continues, the Avalanche is up 3-0 right now in this series. If they win Game 4, Nazem Kadri will literally not see a round 2 in this playoffs. That will be the next 7 games that he will be suspended, and 7 games in a series. So literally, he's out for an entire round, basically. And that's what happens. So, got to learn your lesson, and that's that. That's the series for that one. I mean, it's ugly. It's ugly for the Blues. Next, Penguins Islanders. We're 2-2 right now in that series, I believe.
Yep.
And that's a good series. That's a good series.
The series of which goaltender will be worse.
That's our whole thing. So Varlamov has yet to win a game in that series.
He's yet to have a good game.
Yeah, honestly. And they go back to Sorokin in Game 4, gets it done. Decisively, too, by the way. Tristan Jarry was terrible in Game 4. And that's that. So that's as far as that is. And it's tied 2-2. 3 games left.
I mean, yeah, just make a save. Either team. It's so evenly matched that the difference is just make a save. Each game I mean, Game 3 was both of them. Would you agree on that? Both yes. Yari and...
That was yeah, I agree.
And Varlamov were terrible. Neither were good enough to win.
The Penguins had some legitimately unstoppable goals. You know, the Brandon Tanev tip in front... Or not tip.
Well, no, there was a second from the outside shot. The Carter one was almost identical to...
Yeah.
The Russ shot, except it was a better shot far side instead of a terrible short side goal. A little bit more defendable, but still, it's almost no different than the terrible Rust goal.
Yep. I will also say, shout out to Will, our the football podcast stuff that we do. We collaborate with Will, and his Jets rookies were at this Islanders game. What's his name? What's the quarterback?
The new one?
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson looking like he's 12 years old with these grown men.
Just got out of middle school dance.
Yep. Dan Feeney with the mullet. Offensive lineman, I'm guessing, because that's just what he looks like. He can't possibly play any other position. Chugging beers and stuff. So that was a little highlight. Maybe that Islanders game will give the Jets some actual momentum into the season, and they'll have 2 wins this season.
No.
So... 6-year vet. Sorry, Will. Dan Feeney. I don't know.
Still forgettable.
It's the Jets. I'm sorry. All right. Golden Knights, Minnesota Wild. We really talked about that series at this point. The Golden Knights are just a winning games. It's 3-1 for the Knights at this moment.
Have to go to Kakkonen next game.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Talbot's also not been terrible either. But Vegas, it's all transitions. It's all transitions.
They're getting too aggressive. They're forcing
Yeah.
the issue because they're having their goals taken away.
Yeah.
Like, the way that they win the games is they're going to trap up and counterattack. They've got to play like the Islanders.
Yeah.
And the first game, they did it really well. The second game, they forced the issue thing, and they could, had some momentum in the series. Didn't work. Second game, or third game, obviously pressing. They get their goal right back and taken away, which then they press more, and it leads to chances the other way.
I do think that Minnesota is kind of doing what we talked about with the Rangers last season in a different way.
They absolutely are. No,
but they're chasing what they want to be in the playoffs, not what they should just be.
No, there were plenty of times in that last game where I'm looking at it and I'm like, you didn't need to throw a full hit there. Just get the body position. You can, throw the body while pinning them up against the wall to get. But you by chasing the hit, you lost body position, and they cycled the puck. Continue to cycle the puck.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's just the hits. I think it goes past that. Even I think they're trying to do too much to counteract.
They're chasing
Vegas.
hits. They really.
They're getting away from their game. They're just throwing pucks on net now. Now it's like all about shots. Be aggressive, shots. Be aggressive.
Pressing.
Get back to their game.
Yeah, your game is not to overwhelm the Knights. You're not going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're trying to do. It seems like, and it's not their game. Another fact, by the way, that I learned last night. This is the first time all season that the Wild lost 3 consecutive games. They were one of 3 teams all season that did not lose 3 consecutive games, and that's rather impressive for a team that everyone has counted out for a majority of the season. So, I mean, it's kind of rough, but yeah, hopefully they could get back in the series and make it a series again. If not, this is Vegas's. So,
Boo.
Next, I think we only have one series to talk about. That's Bruins Caps. Did we kind of already talk about that series?
It's just depressing. You guys have zero jam. Like
that was.
I don't like the lineup decisions. It pains me, but I'm questioning Peter Laviolette heavily. I mean, he had a rough end there in Nashville, but usually he comes in and does great with a new team.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Caps were just nowhere to be found in Game 4. 4? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Game 4. And it was a lopsided game. The reffing still wasn't good, but I'm not blaming it on that. It was not pretty. Yeah, that's really it. It was just
Raffle
a lopsided
top
game.
pair didn't work then, Peter. It's not going to work now. It's literally Raffle on the top pair is what got you fired from Philadelphia. Like, I thought you'd figure it out, but he's really making me question him, which is unfortunate because I love Peter Laviolette.
Yeah. I mean, Tuukka Rask has been pretty solid, and
also not challenging that obvious offsides.
Yep, it's another one. Yeah. So that's pretty much that. I mean, that brings us to today's date, and we have our first potential elimination watch.
Oh, one thing.
Yeah.
For those who did watch the Minnesota Vegas Golden Knights game last night, the 22nd. I loved every second about how every fan in the arena was just giving it to the refs the whole game.
Were they really? That was Minnesota's first home game.
Yeah, they...
Which, might I add, had as much electricity as a Vegas game.
I mean, those refs were terrible in that game.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, obvious offsides, just let it go. And there was these 2 guys that were right by the blue line that were just giving it to the linesman and the ref that was in the corner the whole game.
Good.
It was hilarious.
I think that's everyone talks about Vegas and how crazy that arena is inside and whatnot, but I will say Minnesota answered right back with their fans. I mean, last night's game in Minnesota, I was pretty taken back by just how electric that arena was.
State of hockey.
State of hockey was actually there. So the mayor was there. That was I don't know. I don't know what that mayor means to them, but he was pumped, and I was excited for that guy.
My question is, why isn't Minnesota at full capacity already? Like, it's
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, they sounded full capacity, but I don't know. I'm not used to crowd noise yet. So.
Anymore.
Yeah. So, all right, that brings us to today's date. We have 2 elimination watches. We have the Blues and the Avalanche. Ugly. That one's leaning towards that elimination. And Bruins, Capitals. Capitals have a chance to answer back. Or just lay another silent game and Bruins eliminate them. So that's where we're at. Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening, watching on YouTube, JD Network, Twitch. I don't even know what we are in Twitch. I don't remember at the moment. I think it's just JD_network. Oh, sorry.
It's right in front of you.
Right in front of me. JD Media Network, sorry. And Instagram at Between the Benches JD. Thank you guys, and maybe we'll talk to you after some eliminations.